This video is brought to you by Picmonic. Picmonic helps you memorize and retain information for a long period of time, especially if you are a visual learner like me. Today we'll talk about a microbiology introduction and we will discuss some bacteria in detail. So let's get started. So what does microbiology mean? Ology means the study of. Bio is life and micro is small. As you know, microbes are divided into bacteria, fungi, viruses, and parasites. And that's why you can divide microbiology into bacteriology, fungology or mycology, virology, parasitology. So, when you say Staphylococcus aureus or Streptococcus pyogenes or Vibrio cholera, usually this is the name of the genus and this is the name of the species. And here's my little song: Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Music is way better than acronyms for your memory. It's way better than King Peter climbed over a family genealogy source. Bacteria was discovered by the same dude who discovered the nucleus, Antony van Leeuwenhoek. We classify bacteria based on the Gram stain. Gram was the name of a scientist, by the way. That's why it should be a capital G. Gram stain. It's either gram positive or gram negative. Gram positive bacteria are purple, gram negative are pink. And then we divide the gram positive into gram positive cocci and gram positive rods. Same thing with the gram negative. Gram positive, gram negative, cocci and rods. And then the cocci are catalase positive or catalase negative. Catalase positive such as the staph, catalase negative such as the strep. And then the rods are divided not based on the catalase but based on spore formation. Are they spore forming or non-spore forming? Today we will focus on the non-spore forming, and then they are further subdivided into aerobic and anaerobic bacteria. Aerobic could be motile or immotile. Motile is Listeria Monocytogenes, immotile such as Corynebacterium diphtheria and Nocardia asteroides. The anaerobic is the Actinomyces Israeli. Anaerobic Actinomyces. So we will start by talking about Actinomyces Israeli, and then we'll talk about Listeria Monocytogenes in 2 Picmonics. After this, we have Corynebacterium diphtheria, and then we have Nocardia asteroides. So let's start with Actinomyces Israeli, which is an anaerobic, non-spore forming gram-positive rod.
Actinomyces Israeli is a species of bacteria represented in this Picmonic by the acting mice. These bacteria stain gram-positive, shown by the graham cracker positive angel, and are rod-shaped or bacillus-shaped, explaining the rod in the image. Actinomyces Israeli bacteria prefer to grow in an environment void of oxygen as they are anaerobes, illustrated by the ant in her robe. These bacteria are unique in that their colonies grow as branching filaments depicted by the branches. Actinomyces is a normal flora of the oral cavity, illustrated by the oral flowers, and because of this, these bacteria can cause infections during dental work, the mice drilling the teeth, or during oral trauma, which is also represented by the drilling of the teeth. Additionally, these bacteria are associated with the use of IUDs, or intrauterine devices, shown literally as the IUD in the image. As a consequence, Actinomyces Israeli is associated with genitourinary infections, which is why we show the uterus. Furthermore, these bacteria can cause draining sinus tracts of pus from the source of infection, illustrated by the long tracts that the mice are burrowing through. If untreated, these tracts can progress to facial abscesses, shown as the abscess guy in the face. On gross examination, this bacteria species can demonstrate characteristic yellow clumps of bacterial colonies that resemble yellow sulfur granules, depicted by the yellow granules. We treat Actinomyces Israeli infections with a high dose of oral penicillin, the penicillin. So to sum it up, Actinomyces Israeli is a gram-positive bacillus. These bacteria are anaerobes and grow as branching filaments. They are part of the normal oral flora and can lead to infections after dental work or oral trauma. Actinomyces Israeli is also associated with IUD use. It can be the culprit in genitourinary infections, and in orofacial infections they can form draining sinus tracts. If left untreated, these can progress to facial abscesses. On gross examination, these bacterial colonies resemble yellow sulfur granules, and don't forget that Actinomyces infection should be treated with a high dose of oral penicillin.
And if you want to strengthen your memory, use your memory. So let's be proactive and practice active recall. Actinomyces, the acting mice. They are gram-positive angels and they are rods. They are part of the normal bacteria flora and they are branched, associated with dental work or oral trauma. They are also associated with IUDs. Signs and symptoms included genitourinary infections, draining sinus tracts, and facial abscesses. Please remember the yellow sulfur granules. The treatment is with penicillin, the pencil villain. Next, we'll talk about Listeria Monocytogenes in two Picmonics.
Listeria Monocytogenes, represented by the lizard wearing a monocle in jeans, is a gram-positive bacterium, shown in the Picmonic with the gram-positive angel, and is a bacillus or rod-shaped bacterium, which is why this image has the rod. It is a facultative intracellular microbe, represented by the lizard in a cell, and is capable of surviving in cold temperatures, shown by the frozen cage. This organism grows and reproduces inside host cells and moves within eukaryotic cells by explosive polymerization of actin filaments called actin rockets, shown by the actin rocket. This organism exhibits a characteristic motility described as tumbling motility, depicted by the tumbleweed when viewed with light microscopy, which can help with identification. It is catalase positive, illustrated with the positive cat, and beta hemolytic, shown by the beta fish on the petri dish. Listeria, while being gram-positive, has cell walls that are composed of lipoteichoic acids. These resemble the lipopolysaccharide cell walls of gram-negative bacteria, and these lipoteichoic acids were erroneously thought to function as endotoxins, a feature unique to gram-negative bacteria. Thus, Listeria is the only gram-positive organism with an endotoxin-like structure, illustrated by the endotoxin balloon. So, recall that Listeria monocytogenes is a gram-positive bacillus and a facultative intracellular microbe that can survive in cold temperature. It moves within eukaryotic cells through polymerization of actin filaments and shows tumbling motility. It is catalase positive and beta hemolytic. Listeria is unique amongst gram-positive bacteria because its cell wall possesses an endotoxin-like structure.
Listeria is also a gram-positive rod. It's in the cage, so it's intracellular, surviving in cold temperature. There was actin rockets and tumbling motility. There was a positive cat because it's catalase positive, it's beta hemolytic, and it is the only gram-positive with an exotoxin-like structure.
Listeria monocytogenes is a bacterium which leads to the disease listeriosis, illustrated in this Picmonic as the Listeria lizard, who's serving dinner to this family. Typically, this occurs in newborns, the elderly, and the immunocompromised. Listeriosis most commonly occurs through the ingestion of contaminated food products, especially soft cheeses, represented here as the plate of cheese. Listeria monocytogenes infections can lead to different presentations depending on the specific populations affected. Symptoms in pregnant women include flu-like symptoms, shown as the ice bag and thermometer, along with gastrointestinal symptoms, such as nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. Depicted here is the pregnant woman sitting on the toilet. Neonates with listeriosis can develop pyogenic granulomas distributed diffusely over the body, a finding termed granulomatosis infectiseptica, the granny llama and a baby. If a mother is infected early in pregnancy, spontaneous abortion can occur to the fetus, shown as the Spartan baby. Now, listeriosis affects the central nervous system, and if infants are not aborted in utero, they are at high risk for developing meningitis, the meningtites. An important note is that listeria is the third most common cause of neonatal meningitis, as the infants are exposed to the bacteria during transvaginal delivery. Listeria monocytogenes characteristically causes a monocytic response, and after a lumbar puncture, diagnosis of this infection is confirmed when we see monocytes in the CSF, or cerebrospinal fluid, illustrated as the monkey monocyte. The antibiotic of choice for treating listeriosis is ampicillin, the AMP pencil. Let's run through Listeria monocytogenes disease one more time. Infection can occur after ingestion of soft cheeses, and symptoms in pregnant women include flu-like symptoms, along with gastrointestinal symptoms. Neonates that are infected can develop granulomatosis infectiseptica, and if infection occurs early in pregnancy, spontaneous abortion can occur. During vaginal delivery, inoculation can occur, leading to neonatal meningitis, and this can be diagnosed when we see monocytes in the cerebrospinal fluid. We treat listeriosis with ampicillin.
Listeria, or the lizard, disease. It was associated with soft cheese. Pregnant mothers with flu-like symptoms and GI symptoms. There was granuloma infantiseptica. Spartan or spontaneous miscarriages, meningitis or meningitis. If you do a lumbar puncture, you'll find monocytes, and that's why we call it monocytogenes. There was an amplifier here because it's treated with ampicillin.
Corynebacterium diphtheriae is illustrated in this Picmonic as the corn dip bacteria being eaten at the fair. This is a gram-positive organism, shown as the graham cracker positive angel, and morphologically is described as a bacillus, represented by the rod. Corynebacterium diphtheriae produces an exotoxin, the bursting toxic balloon, which leads to ADP ribosylation of elongation factor 2 in host cells, shown as the ADP Red Bull with the elongating elf wearing two tutus. This alteration of elongation factor 2 in host cells renders them unable to synthesize proteins, leading to cell necrosis. One virulence factor of Corynebacterium diphtheriae is that it has integration of a beta-prophage, the beta fish propeller, which occurs through a process called lysogeny, the lasso genes, and this describes a viral genome being encoded into the bacterium's DNA, giving it the ability to produce toxins. Now, when bacterial cultures are obtained, this organism will grow on tellurite agar, the telephone right, and grows in a pattern resembling Chinese letters, depicted as the Chinese characters. Cultures may also contain inclusion bodies that stain as metachromatic blue-red granules, pictured as the metal chrome blue-red balls. More specifically, the inclusion bodies stain red, while the bacillus itself turns blue when stained with an aniline dye, like methylene blue, depicted as the alien stained blue. Corynebacterium diphtheriae causes the disease diphtheria, which is an upper respiratory tract illness characterized by pseudomembranous pharyngitis, represented by the sumo-Manbra pharo, along with lymphadenopathy, shown as the lymph Lyme ad. Later stages of disease can include myocarditis, shown by the Mayo heart card, and polyneuritis, illustrated by the poly with neuron legs. So to break it down, Corynebacterium diphtheriae is a gram-positive bacillus. This bacteria produces an exotoxin which causes ADP ribosylation of elongation factor 2, impairing cells from properly synthesizing proteins. This bacteria is unique because it incorporates a beta-prophage, and this is done through a process known as lysogeny, giving this organism the ability to produce diphtheria toxin. It grows on tellurite agar, and colonies display patterns of growth resembling Chinese letters. We see metachromatic blue-red granules, and this is because of inclusion bodies staining red, while the bacillus turns blue with aniline dyes like methylene blue. Corynebacterium diphtheriae causes the disease diphtheria, in which patients have pseudomembranous pharyngitis and lymphadenopathy. In later stages, myocarditis and polyneuritis can develop.
Corynebacterium diphtheria is a gram-positive rod. It has an exotoxin, beta-prophage, lysogeny, and they grew on tellurite agar. It had the Chinese letter appearance, metachromatic blue and red granules, pseudomembranous pharyngitis with lymphadenopathy. There was also myocarditis and peripheral neuropathy.
Nocardia, shown as the note card background, is an aerobic bacterium that requires high oxygen content to proliferate, depicted by the aerobic outfit. It's a gram-positive bacteria, represented by the graham cracker positive angel. Nocardia is catalase positive, shown as the positive cat, meaning it produces catalase, which protects it from the toxic byproducts of oxygen metabolism. Furthermore, this bacterium is urease positive, the positive U eraser, meaning it hydrolyzes urea to ammonia and carbon dioxide. Nocardia and Actinomyces are the only branched gram-positive bacteria, while Nocardia can be distinguished from Actinomyces by being weakly acid-fast, depicted by the acidic lemon running fast. Additionally, it can be distinguished from other gram-positive bacteria by its long branching filaments, represented by the branches of the tree. Nocardia is commonly described as having beaded filaments, shown by the beaded rope hanging from the tree. Nocardia typically causes infections in those with AIDS or those who are immunocompromised, illustrated as the Band-Aids, and is found in the soil, shown by the soil. The most common presentation of infection is as a lung cavitation, represented by the lung cavity. It can also present as abscesses, like in the brain, shown as the brain abscess guy, or in the kidney with the abscess guy. Treatment for nocardia is trimethoprim sulfamethoxazole, or TMP-SMX, illustrated by the tampon on the SMX snowmobile. So let's quickly review nocardia. This is an aerobic gram-positive bacterium which is catalase positive and urease positive. It can be distinguished from other branched bacteria by being acid-fast and shows a branching pattern with beaded filaments. Nocardia infections typically arise in those who have AIDS or are immunocompromised, and this bacterium is found in soil. Signs of infection include lung cavitations, brain abscesses, and kidney abscesses. The standard for treating nocardia is TMP-SMX.
Picmonic will also let you quiz yourself. So, nocardia. Question number 1. Which of the following is nocardia? Nocardia is aerobic. Nocardia is urease positive. Nocardia is branching. If you go to picmonic.com/VIP hookup/medicosis, they will let you choose your favorite review book and they will sort the Picmonics accordingly. So this is my methodology to study using Picmonic. Watch the animation and then watch the story animation. Watch it again. Pause and look at the picture. Just stare at it. Close your eyes and use your imagination. Open your eyes and see how you did. Solve the quiz. Get a piece of paper and write down the place of the characters in the Picmonic. And then revisit the topic tomorrow, 5 days from now, and 30 days from now. And believe me, you will be happy you did. It's Picmonic, baby. What I absolutely adore about Picmonic is that they have free trials, money-back guarantee programs, terms and restrictions apply. You can use Picmonic on your computer and mobile or tablet. When it comes to learning, they offer you visual cues, audio, storytelling, read the script, and there is spaced repetition, which is absolutely powerful. And then you have multiple choice questions. You can even create your own Picmonics. They also have a community of learners where you can contribute and see what has been contributed before. So let's review. Today we have discussed Actinomyces Israeli, Listeria Monocytogenes, Corynebacterium Diphtheria, and Nocardia asteroides. All of them were gram-positive rods, that's why they are purple. All of them were non-spore forming. Motility, Listeria Monocytogenes was motile, the others are immotile. Actinomyces Israeli, anaerobic, branching. Nocardia asteroides, aerobic and branching. Actinomyces Israeli, part of the oral flora, yellow sulfur granules, GU infections and facial abscess and dental work. Treatment is penicillin. Listeria monocytogenes, catalase positive, cold temperature. Actin rockets, you can say Mars or Elon Musk, haha. Beta hemolytic, endotoxin-like structure. Cheese, pregnant mothers. Ampicillin is the treatment. Here is another M. Corynebacterium diphtheria, Chinese letters. Exotoxin, and the E here is a Chinese letter, beta prophage. So this was beta hemolytic, the Listeria, but the Corynebacteria is beta prophage. The Actinomyces Israeli had yellow sulfur granules. However, Corynebacterium diphtheria have metachromatic granules that are blue and red. Symptoms of Corynebacterium include lymphadenopathy, pseudomembranous pharyngitis, myocarditis, and neuritis. The treatment is erythromycin, Chinese letters, baby. Nocardia is branching. It's aerobic, it's urease positive, and it's beaded. Soil, weakly acid fast. HIV and immunocompromised patients, lung cavitation, abscess in my brain, abscess in my kidney. Treat me with TMP-SMX. Let's review very quickly. Actinomyces Israeli, this is the oral flora, dental work and microabscesses, GU problems, intrauterine devices, and please don't forget the sulfur granules. Don't forget that they are branched, and don't forget it's penicillin. Listeria, please remember the exotoxin, the catalase positive, the beta hemolytic, the actin rockets, the tumbling motility, the cold temperature. Listeria disease, remember cheese, pregnant mothers with flu-like symptoms and GI symptoms. It can cause meningitis and granulomatosis infantisepticum, as well as spontaneous miscarriages. We call it monocytogenes because it has monocytes. Treat with ampicillin. For the Corynebacterium diphtheria, don't forget the exotoxin, the beta prophage, the ADP, the tellurite agar, metachromatic blue and red granules, the Chinese letters. Diseases include pseudomembranous pharyngitis, lymphadenopathy, myocarditis, and peripheral neuritis. The note card, Nocardia. Nocardia is branching. Nocardia is acid fast. Nocardia causes lung cavity, abscess in my brain, abscess in my kidney. It's urease positive, catalase positive, aerobic. Treat me with TMP-SMX unless I'm allergic to sulfur. Go to picmonic.com/VIP hookup/medicosis, link in the description. Try it for free. They have more than 1,400 Picmonics. You can create your own playlist, bookmark, notes, etc. Today we have covered only these 4 bacteria, but if you go to Picmonic, you can see all of these bacteria Picmonics. Picmonic has microbiology, pharmacology, genetic diseases, OBGYN. These are my favorites, and all the other medical subjects and nursing subjects. You can download the Picmonic app for free on Android or iPhone. They have 4.9 stars and 10,000 ratings. Just think about it. I've been using Picmonic for 7 years, and the only things that I know about Actinomyces Israeli and Nocardia are from Picmonic. So try it today for free. Go to picmonic.com/VIP hookup/medicosis. Thank you so much, Picmonic, for sponsoring this video, and thank you guys for watching. This is Medicosis Perfectionalis, where medicine makes perfect sense. Be safe, stay happy, and study hard. And Picmonic is here to help.